Fala, seus Duduis, bem com vocês? Aqui quem tá falando é o Dudui. E dessa vez que continuar com a nossa série de Remnant 2. A gente parou no último episódio pra conversar com esse manito aqui. Porque a gente ia trocar as coisas com ele, né? Tinha pegado os pó dele no último episódio. Só que não pegou o suficiente. Não vou trocar nada não. Obrigado, viu, meu rei? Caraca, que saco.
I didn't believe Bo when he said y'all went in the crystal.
So many new faces these days. Things must be getting a mite easier out there. Welcome, traveler. I'm Reginald Malone, but my friends call me Reggie. You can too. Heard the old founder dragged you down into the ward on some mysterious business of his. I'm glad to see one of you came back safe and sound. Can't say the same for Ford. Clementine neither. Wish she hadn't gone and followed you. I don't suppose you know where they are now. You mean the one they hauled into the center of town there? That thing hadn't been active for over a decade. It could be anywhere. Well, I hope you don't give up on him. Ford now. I suspect he'll come back when he's good and ready. But folks are worried about Clementine. Getting right to business. I respect that. Let's see what we got going on here.
Caixa de munição é bom, bomba caseira é bom. E força de confiança dos danos sofridos. Aí temos anel que aumenta o dano. Aumenta em 200%. Tudo dano causado aumenta em 10%. Ui, esse aqui é bom. Esse aqui eu tenho uma coisa pra vender. Isso aqui é o quê? Matéria-prima.
Keep your wits about you. Greetings, traveler. What can I do for you? What's on your mind, traveler? Old as teeth, friend. Old as teeth. Everything we know comes from Founder Ford. That title don't come from nowhere. He was there at the start. When the world ended, about 120 years ago, give or take a decade, Ford and some survivors took shelter in old Ward 13 over there. I don't know how many wards there were, but they were all part of something called the Dreamer Project that went bad. Real bad. There are rumors. Some say he made a deal with the Root, and that's why he's so hell-bent on stopping them. Some say he was experimented on in the Dreamer Project. Some say he found some kind of magic out there in the years when he was traveling the worlds. Truth is, nobody knows. Maybe not even Ford himself. Personally, I think Ford's just tough as dirt and refuses to die. Ford and Clementine are the only ones what really know, and they don't like to talk about it. But old Reggie's got a gift for collecting stories, and I've gleaned a few things. At the wards, see, they connected people to machines that made them dream about other worlds. But these worlds were real, and the dreamers were seeing through the eyes of someone that lived there. Sounds like a bridge too far, don't it? It did for me, too. At least until I met Clementine. The story's pretty long, friend. Let me know if you get tired of the telling. After the world fell, see, Founder Ford carried the whole burden of what happened on his shoulders. Tell the truth, I don't think he ever put that burden down. But let's see, where were we? Ah, yes. Founder Ford carried a heavy burden in those earlier days. Probably still does. But what could he do? At first, nothing. He pressed on with the work of helping others survive. If you ask me, that was the best thing he could have done. It never should have stopped. Maybe he wouldn't have if Evelyn hadn't. See, Evelyn was his wife, and she was something special. She could hear the root, see what they saw. At first, she thought she was going insane. But then she started using it, spying on the dead wood. And she saw something coming. Something big. She saw a monster, something the ward, the whole city couldn't handle. And only one way out. She communed with the root, I guess you'd call it. Melded her mind to theirs and drove the monster off. But the root swallowed her, body and mind, until there was nothing left of Evelyn Ford. Her husband lost it then. He left the ward for months, sometimes years at a time, wandering the worlds trying to find something, anything that could stop the root. And one day he just didn't come back. Well, now my story's not through yet. The Fords, they had a daughter, Nadine. She was maybe 17 when her mother disappeared. Too young to run the ward, but when her pa was gone, folks would ask her their questions instead. Then one day, she was just in charge of everything. Nadine had her own daughter, Ellen, who really made us who we are today. Commander Ellen Ford inherited her mother's pragmatism, her grandfather's doggedness, and her grandmother's willingness to make hard choices. So whenever someone showed up, dehydrated, starving, half mad from loss, she took them in, taught them a trade in medicine and supplies, gave them a family. So you were paying attention. I owe a lot to Ellen Ford, and we all do. And I miss her something fierce, let me tell you. She was one of the dreamers, if you can believe it. The only one still alive, as far as I can tell. She says she got sucked out somehow, dragged into her dream world before the root came to Earth. I don't understand it much. I reckon she don't either. But she found herself in a place called Riesel, a world covered in snow and inhabited by giant intelligent rats. Don't know how she survived, but I imagine it has to do with those powers of hers. Hey, that's the story sure is. But power like that don't come without a cost. I can only imagine what it must take out of her to control a power like that. Oh, about 20-odd years ago, we had almost nothing left. Trapped in Ward 13 with nowhere to go and the root getting worse all around us. Then this stranger wanders in out of the storm, makes friends, picks up some gear, and damned if they don't take the fight to the root. I still don't know if that wanderer was crazy or brave or both, but they did it. They beat the root, and things got better day by day. Once it seemed safe to live outside again, Commander Ford made plans to build this town here. The Wanderer was on a mission from the start. Said something about getting to the tower on the old atoll out there. Sounded crazy the first time I heard it. But turns out, that tower was one of the old wards. The Wanderer's path wasn't easy, though. Our Wanderer had to track down Founder Ford just to find a way in. And that meant following his trail. Just you wait. I'm getting to that. Well, Ford had seemed to have gotten himself mixed up in another world's affairs, helping a rebellion out here. And he was imprisoned for it. Now, no one here knew that, but the Root Mother knew. And that's who our Wanderer left to see. The Root Mother's got a story all her own, and I don't know half of it. Before she was the Root Mother, she was Evelyn Ford. That's right, the Founder's wife. Bound herself to the root, she did, and it changed her. Turned her into something else. But when the Wanderer showed up, she pulled herself out. The Root Mother, or whatever she called herself after that, sent our Wanderer down a trail of sorrow, at the end of which was the Founder himself. The Wanderer freed him, and used his knowledge to get into the tower and destroy the last dreamer. Or what we thought was the last dreamer anyway. It did weaken the root for a time, but I guess that weren't the whole story. So, the dreamer was dead. The storm subsided. But the root, they were still around. Then Founder Ford tells us about the oldest ward, the first one, where the Dreamer Project began. He hoped there might be some clue there as to why the Deadwood was still coming to our world. So our wanderer goes a-hunting. Oh, they found more than even old Ford bargained for. You ain't wrong. Place was full of doors, and I'm not talking about the quiet humankind. One of these doors led to the world of Reesum, where the Wanderer found Clementine. Clementine opened a door when nobody else could have opened. And inside? I hate to admit it, but I don't know what they found inside. All I know is the root stopped coming when the Wanderer and Clementine were through. They'd done it. Saved the whole damn world. Just making sense of things. Stories make us who we are. If we don't share them, don't learn from them, we're just bouncing around in the dark. If you got scrap, I got you covered.
Aí, ó, tá vendo? Era uma... Nessa parte, a mini resumida na história do segundo jogo, do primeiro, no caso, que é o primeiro Remnant, né?
Well, hey, get away from my stew! Oh, it's you. Oh, nonsense. I'm sure you had a reason. Mi casa et tu, Brute. And all that. So, what can old Mudtooth do for you, huh? Oh, ho, ho. You came to the right place, traveler. Quite a bit, stranger. The name's Mudtooth. And ain't nobody been around longer or seen more than I have. Except maybe old Ford, of course. But that old mudder cheats. Anyway, he hardly tells any of his stories. Only 3 reasons why folks come to see me. And that's my stories or my stew. Yeah. So, youngin', what'll it be?
Não, 3, ele falou 2, eu tô errado. Tá, vai. O que pode me dizer sobre essa cidade?
That's so? Huh. Did I tell you about the stories yet? That one too, eh? Well, that's it, ain't it? My stories and my stew. Listen, you sure I said there were 3 reasons? 'Cause there's only 2, and that's certain. Huh. Only 2 reasons folks come to see old Mudtooth, and you know both of them. I'm pretty sure your memory's slipping. You bet your apple I can, but these ain't just stories, stranger. They're objective retellings of legitimate occurrences what you wouldn't believe. Now, where to start? Back when the earth fell, a dragon, a real root dragon, took up residence over there, just like in old fairy tales. It started in them wards, see? Your eyes only hush-hush military conspiracizing farms and whatnot. That's where they made all their weapons and did them experiments. And just like those tales, it took a what now? It took a night to slay this dragon. Oh, ho, ho, but the dragon was crafty, all right. He knew the knight needed help, so the dragon gave it to him. Yep, the dragon took the form of a talking tree and told the knight if they wanted to slay that dragon, they'd have to slay all these other beasts first. A cyclops, a living statue, what do you call them? Golem. Well, the knight slayed them all. But the thing was, these beasts weren't protecting the dragon. They were holding him back. So when the dragon finally did reveal itself, it was too strong for the knight. And it took them, body and mind, and made their strength its own. That's too bad. Well, sure. Been cooking all day, getting the flavors just right.
Gente, o que ele tava contando é a história do primeiro jogo, que é o do Cronos, tá? Então, esse velho contou a história do Cronos e o segundo, o outro velho, esse que eu tava dormindo, o outro, tava do primeiro Remnant, tá? Apito antigo, isso aqui é pra outro arquétipo, tá? A gente vai ter que juntar 1.500. Eu vou guardar aqui pra meter 1.500. Então esses dois velhos aqui, depois eu vou fazer no off. Por quê? Porque eles têm a... Eu preciso de conversar com eles, que eles vão me dar uns itens. E aí pra isso acontecer, eu tenho que falar com eles. Pra mim não ficar o episódio praticamente inteiro, aí já passou metade do episódio, eu só conversando com eles, pra não ter tudo isso aí, eu vou ver anteriormente. Mas vocês viram que a história do primeiro, tem na primeira que chegou um dragão raiz aqui, aí um cavaleiro, que é o Cronos, foi lá enfrentar ele, aí ele teve que derrotar as 4 criaturas para poder liberar, mas aí deu errado, né? E aí a raiz tomou conta do mundo. E aí vai onde vai o Remnant, que é o Cronos antes das cinzas, e o Remnant depois das cinzas, né? Que é uma continuação do outro. E o 2 aqui que é pra fazer a conclusão, pelo menos eu acho. Deixa eu conversar com esse puto. Não, eu marquei sem querer.
What's on your mind? What's to say? I spent years trying to survive. The same tale you're likely to hear from anyone else. This town, though. This town's a boom. She's been building this place ever since the root. It's just a town to some folk, but a few of us see it like she did. Your cat. She passed on a while back, but she's still alive all around you. In the folks whose lives she's touched, even in the bones of this town. And then there's her grandfather. That old man's gonna outlive the Earth itself. She did. Saved my life. Me and my partner, Jed. And, well, she gave me a family. Folks to live for. When you meet Founder Ford, you'll know. Years don't have the usual hold on some folk around here. But Ford, he's playing with another set of rules entirely. Can I do anything else for you?
Vou melhorar o equipamento. Pronto.
You know where to find me.
Vamos, sumiu. Depois, mas bem depois, eu vou fazer isso no off. Vou conversar com todo mundo aqui pra zerar, mas eu vou fazer no off, que já tá 20 minutos de vídeo. E aí só foi a conclusão da história, né? Essa mãe raiz que eles falaram também, né? O que o primeiro cara falou. A gente salva ela bem no começo do jogo, eu nem lembrava, porque na verdade no meu jogo nem o Ford eu encontrei ainda. Eu encontrei, não lembro. Eu sei como se é o mundo, né? Mas aí o Ford, a esposa dele é a mãe raiz, a gente salva ela bem no começo do jogo. Pouco depois que a gente encontra o setor 13 pela primeira vez, a gente encontra ela. Eu posso passar aqui por baixo? Ai, caralho, perdi o botão errado. Mas não tem nada. Então vamos lá, vamos enfrentar o primeiro boss. Vamos ver o que esse primeiro boss tem pra nos nos dá. Nossa, nem apertei o botão. Caralho. Vamos ver se a gente consegue, o máximo que a gente consegue enfrentando ele. Caralho! Vai tirar? Vai tirar 2 bolas. Puta, perdi, acabou a minha munição. Ah, mas tem bastante munição rodada, peraí. Toma vida. Vou pegar a munição. Não preciso passar aqui? Não. Ah, entendi. Ah, essência elemental, então meu bagulho elemental não vai adiantar nele. Agora que eu vi que ele tá ali, resistência elemental. Filho da mãe. Eu tô fazendo isso aqui, mas não tô enxergando nada e ninguém tava me batendo. Aí na hora que eu falar que ninguém tava me batendo, me bateram. Tá, mas eu tomei muito dano nessa brincadeira. Caralho, me ferrei. Morri. Ah, esqueci de detalhe. Ai, cacete. Vai, sobe logo. Oi. Beleza, vamos pra próxima. Ah, tô sem bala. Não vi que eu tava sem bala, bosta. Beleza, eu buguei na escada. Não consigo sair. Ó, buguei, ó. Como morri na escada, buguei. Ó, não consigo sair. Não consigo mexer, só consigo mirar. Ai, que bosta. Vai, vamos pra próxima.
I'm in trouble. Come on.
Ah, velho, por pouco. Não consegui! Nossa, cara. Consegui. Tô nem acreditando, cara. Foi tenso. Também tô gravando. Selva óssea, maravilha. Nossa, deixa eu pegar toda essa munição. Nossa, só o tantinho de vida que eu tenho, cara. Ah, eu entendi que foi o seguinte, o que eu fiz. Quando a gente tá enfrentando ele, aquelas bolinhas sofrem dano também. Então o jeito que eu fiz melhor foi realmente ir atirando nele até quebrar a proteção. Depois quebrou a proteção, eu fiquei dando dano na bolinha. E eu achei que não dava dano os verdadeiros na bolinha, dá dano na vida dele. Até que eu percebi que realmente dá dano na vida dele também se você fazer isso. Boa. Então desoriência. Mas o que tem isso aí que eu já peguei um monte? Aqui, trocar esse caroço pegajoso faz seus dedos formigarem de forma dolorosa. Não sei de que criatura saiu, mas parte da sua vida permanece nessa gosma. Matéria-prima de criação. Não sei para que fazer item de boss. Com certeza, tem mais um. Nada. Aqui, tipo nível 2 ainda. Inventário, sistema. Tá, eu ainda não sei que item que é aquele. Não tem ninguém aqui, né? Não. Por enquanto, eu acho. Então foi isso que eu percebi. Esse meio que padrão assim no inimigo. Então eu tentei dar o máximo de dano nas bolinhas possível para depois dar dano nele. Foi cansativo. Para não falar outra palavra, mas foi bem cansativo. Bem cansativo mesmo. Tá, tô com um dedo. Eu achei que depois que eu tava quase enfrentando ele que não ia dar. Ainda bem que eu consegui desviar. Tá, aqui tem um bug pra ir, mas... Ah, acho que tem a Stone ali. Ui, é maravilha. Maravilha, maravilhosa. Deixa eu tocar, filho. Eu não tô conseguindo. Por quê? Consumíveis. Itens consumíveis podem ser usados. Você pode comprar consumíveis. Não dá. Caixa de munição, tá? Tá bom. Vou voltar pro setor 13, é 13 mesmo. Eu vou aproveitar também essa partinha. Que aí eu vou... Eu sei que eu tenho que melhorar o item, calma aí.
you've seen Clementine out there. That's too bad. Well, you never gave up on me. I don't expect you'll give up on her either. Keep trying, hey?
Tá, mas eu vou guardar. Tá bom. Vou guardar, não vou fazer isso não.
If you've got so many opinions, you could come over here and do it yourself.
Esse cara, o que tem que esse cara tem aqui mesmo? Ô, meu querido. Você não quer falar comigo? Beleza. Suave. Suaveira, você não tem... Você não precisa falar comigo. Fica suave. Meu educado.
When are you gonna come over here and help me?
Tá bom. Boy. Fala comigo.
How goes it, friend?
Que já não... Porque tem que ter 10, né? Deixa.
So long.
Deixa. Pessoal, eu vou ficar por enquanto por aqui, tá? Num próximo episódio... Sei que eu tô com 15. No próximo episódio eu continuo... Fazer...
Only that which will make it stronger than before.
Isso aqui. Não dá.
The Paxel takes path
Beleza, deixa quieto. Pessoal, eu espero que vocês tenham gostado do vídeo. No próximo vídeo eu vou explorar uma outra área. Eu não vou continuar aquela área ali. Eu vou na paróquia. Eu acho que eu tenho alguns itens lá diferenciados no próximo episódio, tá? Então, se você gostou do vídeo, quer continuar seguindo bem aí a série, aí eu sei que foi minha enrolação isso aí, mas eu vou tentar fazer o máximo possível para ter mais ação do que conversation. Mas pelo menos já descobrimos a história do Cronos e a história do Remnant 1 nesse episódio e ainda enfrentamos um boss. Ótimo, achei vitória nisso daí. Beleza? Então se você gostou, deixe seu gostei, se comentar avaliando o vídeo, me segue nas redes sociais que me ajuda imensamente. E esse aí. Valeu, fero, fui!